All right. So, hello and welcome to Love and Money. This is a webinar on navigating financial conversations with your loved ones. I am Hallie. I am the Community Development Representative from Alive Credit Union. And today I'm going to be guiding you through this. If you have any questions during the live webinar, feel free to leave your questions over in the chat and I will answer them as I can. If you're watching the replay on YouTube, you can go to www.alivecu.coop to find more information on me. All right, so starting off with some words of wisdom, Brene Brown said, blame has an inverse relationship with accountability. Accountability, by definition, is a vulnerable process. Blaming is one of the reasons we miss our opportunities for empathy. And I think that what she's saying here is when we have blame in a relationship, we are basically shutting down any kind of empathetic conversation. We have to kind of go into things vulnerable and asking questions and being open with the people that we love most. All right, so what are we going to talk about today? First, we're going to tackle challenges in communication. Then I'm going to give you a few communication strategies, some practical strategies, and then we'll have a question and answer section. So let's start with financial avoidance. This is another great quote that I want you to think about as we go through this, and that's that there's so much shame around money. Shame about not earning enough, not knowing enough, and owing too much. Shame is dangerous because it creates avoidance. And again, Brene Brown said the same thing. When we have blame and when we have shame, that's when we go into our tailspin of avoidance. So when we have avoidance, those most common factors are going to be because you have some fear about your finances or shame or anxiety. And when we are in a relationship with someone, sometimes that can be increased, right? You don't want to let down your partner or feel that way. And so internally, we tell ourselves to have these things, and we don't necessarily need to. Another factor could just be lack of financial literacy. Maybe you or your partner just don't know the caveats of having credit and managing your credit well. Maybe you don't know how to save. Maybe nobody ever talked to you about that. The good news is there are lots of free financial resources that you can get, especially here at Alive Credit Union or with me, to bridge that gap of knowledge. And then the last common factor for financial avoidance is going to be financial stress. And sometimes when we are feeling so stressed out about our current financial status, we don't have the wherewithal to take care of others. So these are things that I want you to just keep in the back of your mind when you're having a conversation, especially with a loved one. So when we're having these talks with our partners, maybe our boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, or wife, maybe this is even a parent or a grandparent that you're taking care of now. We need to look at what their perspective is on finances because we have a pathology that really affects our financial decisions. That could be cognitive biases. Maybe in your mind and your world view, you feel like you need to have a new car every 4 years. That's what you have to do, or else you're not going to have a reliable vehicle. Or maybe you feel like you need to have, everybody has debt. I need to have debt. And that's going to lead to some unconscious decision making processes. You're going to end up making decisions off of those things that you're not really thinking of, but are there in the back of your head. Another pathology that's going to lead to those financial perspective is your emotions. Sometimes we feel like good when we buy things, right? How many times have you heard of retail therapy? And so you go out and you swipe, 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 and you feel so good for that little instance while you find that cute purse or those cute shoes, and then it's gone. So those are going to eventually have an effect on your finances and impact your relationships. And then there's also our social influences. That's a whole job now, right? Social influencer telling us what we should buy, what we should wear, what's cool, what's a new place to eat. And that is the keeping up with the Joneses. Now, maybe it's not on social media that you're seeing it. It could be your friends or your family. Your friends are saying, oh, come on, come out, let's do this, let's do that. Or maybe your family saying, hey, can you help me with this? Can you help me with that? And so sometimes that's going to change how you view money and how you handle money. So let's talk about some strategies to start breaking through these barriers and having healthier conversations about finances with our loved ones. Larry Burkett said, money is either the best or the worst area of communication in our marriages. And I love that. I feel like that's really true. So the first cornerstone of any healthy and thriving relationship, if it's professional, if it's romantic, is just going to be open communication, feeling like you can talk about the things that you need to talk about and that it's a two-way street. Being able to say, you know what, I feel comfortable walking up to my friend and saying, hey, these are my thoughts and feelings and emotions. And what that's going to look like is talking to someone else with respect. You're not going to come in accusatory, hey, why did you do that? That's not right. Listening to them, asking, hey, why did you do that? And trying to understand with empathy, because sometimes people do things and we're like, why would you do that? That makes no sense. That's so unkind. That's so this or that and the other. And when we're in that mind space, we're in judgment and we're not able to really hear what's going on deep down inside. So try not to interrupt, try not to correct when somebody's talking. Just make it an open communication. Hey, what's going on? I noticed that this happened. Why? And you're going to see a more fruitful conversation come from that. My next tool that I would like to impart on you is financial transparency. That's setting life goals, creating automated savings, watching your credit score, learning and taking control of your health. And what I mean by that, especially like that, taking control of your health, what does that have to do with financial transparency? Well, when we're not honest with how we feel or how our body feels, we're not going to be able to be on a level playing field to make good decisions. If you know that you're having a learning gap, like I don't know how to invest for retirement, nobody ever taught me that in school. If you address that and just go at it from honesty and transparency, you're going to be able to start building back up so that you do know these things and you have the tools at your disposal. Another one, a big one, is just watching that credit score, knowing what it is, so that if you do have to make a big financial decision, you know what you've got in your back pocket. And that goes hand in hand with your partner, though. Being open with that and saying, hey, I know that we're talking about getting a second mortgage, or we're talking about opening up a home equity line of credit. Just to be fully transparent with you, after the last time I bought a car, my credit scores dipped a little bit. I'm going to work on building that up before we make that decision. And that kind of goes hands in hands with setting life goals. I think that to have a successful relationship, you both have to have the same goal in mind of where you want to end up. Do you want to retire? What does your household look like? What's important to you? Where are you spending your collective money? Because that's going to drastically change how you view your household finances. So when we're setting shared goals, we're going to try to stay connected. Bankrate reported that 61% of couples discuss their finances at least once a month. That's good and healthy. Once a month, just check in regularly. Make sure that these goals are SMART goals. So brainstorm separately and then decide, what do we want to focus on? Do we want to focus on us both retiring at a certain age? Do we want to focus on repairs we need to make on the house? Or do we want to focus on something fun, like going on vacation? I know for me, I got married last year, and I think weddings are easy to think of when you're thinking of shared goals because there's so much that goes into it, right? So you have the big reception with the party that you invite all your friends and family to, coworkers and such, and that can add up fast. And then that's not even talking about your dress and the photographer and the travel and honeymoon and all the shabam. So knowing what you each want And then being kind of realistic and setting deadlines, and then just checking in, like Bankrate said, just once a month. When it comes to practical strategies, these are the three that are going to get you the furthest within a relationship. And this is beyond just finances, but really, when we think of finances, again, when I started this, I shared those quotes on shame and fear and kind of feeling like we're not good because we don't know how to, maybe I don't have any money saved, so I don't want to talk about money, or, avoiding it. So when we're using these strategies, we're going to start to bridge that gap. So active listening, conflict resolution, and empathy. And once you place all those strategies into your place, it's going to be like a building block, like in this image over here. And you're going to have a good foundation within your relationship to stand upon. So, what is active listening? Active listening is a communication skill that involves fully focusing, understanding, and responding to a speaker. That's the definition. It goes beyond just hearing words. It requires genuine engagement and effort to comprehend the message being conveyed. So, how many of you in your life have a friend or a loved one that they're talking and you kind of zone out? You're like, oh, yeah, you had a good day, or you're talking about that again, and we kind of zone out. And we get used to doing that, right? We're not trying to be mean. It's just we're not actively listening. We're not giving our full focus. So when we're having these financial conversations with our loved ones, it's really important that you really hone in, because that's going to enhance your understanding. You're going to hear your whoever's speaking's thoughts and feelings, their perspectives. Over in this image, I have a picture of a girl, and she's leaning in. And that's like a very clear way to let somebody know that you're listening. Lean into them, make eye contact. It's also going to start building trust. You're demonstrating that you're fully present and you're attentive. So it's going to strengthen that bond in that moment, so that maybe they feel even more comfortable to open up even more. And then seek clarification. I know I said at the start, like, don't question or accuse. This isn't like that. That's not saying, well, why did you do that? It's saying, okay, so I hear you, and you're saying that you went and spent a lot of money today on something that I thought we weren't going to spend money on. Do you mind telling me why you came to that decision? I'm not mad. I'm not coming from anger, but I just want to understand. And when you kind of flip the script to say, I just want to understand, it opens up people's hearts a little bit more. But there's going to be times when there is true conflict. So I really love this Ronald Reagan quote. It doesn't seem like Ronald Reagan would say anything about love or marriage, but peace is not the absence of conflict. It is the ability to handle conflict by peaceful means. So basically, being at peace within your relationship, it doesn't mean that there's going to be no bumps along the road, because we all have bumps along the road. It's about being able to get over those bumps with a peaceful resolution, with being able to get through those things together without going totally haywire. So what is conflict resolution? The definition of conflict resolution is a process of addressing and resolving disputes or disagreements between parties in a constructive and mutually beneficial way. It means finding the common ground, understanding each other's perspectives, and working towards a solution that's going to satisfy all parties involved. So this is going to preserve your relationship, because even beyond finances, this is going to help you prevent long-term damage. When we feel angry, sometimes that's not the best time to talk. Take some time to reflect on it. Why do I feel angry in this moment? Why is this important to me? Or even sadness. Sometimes we can say some things when we feel sad that we don't mean, and later on we regret them. So taking the time to stop and say, okay, why am I so sad about this? Why does this matter so much to me? And by addressing conflicts directly with that person, you're going to be more productive in your life because you're going to solve them faster. It's not going to just linger around. And in your relationship, if you let all that water under the bridge go by, eventually either you get used to it or it becomes too much. The dam breaks, right? So instead of letting that happen, take your moment to find your peace and then come at the conversation from the mindset of resolution. So, what does that look like? We're going to stay calm. Then we're going to find our common ground. So, okay, remember, we want to retire, right? We have this common goal, we have this common interest, or we want to go on that great vacation. So, as long as you're finding that mutually agreeable solution that is possible, and again, this is where some realism comes in. Sometimes we set goals that we feel like we can do really easily, but maybe our partners can't. I mean, think about diet and fitness. I hope I am not alone when I say that my husband, when he decides to lose weight, he cuts out soda and he loses 10 pounds in like a week. I'm like walking, I'm eating my salads, and it's taking a lot longer. We both have that goal, but being mutually agreeable and saying, hey, how can I help you? How can I support you? What are you struggling with? Is where that conflict resolution is going to help you get through that hurdle. And then collaborate. Say, hey, I'm struggling. What do you think I should do? What are you doing that's making you successful? Maybe we need to talk to somebody else outside of our marriage for some ideas and thoughts, somebody that we trust. Because collaboration with problem solving is a real skill. It's nothing to be ashamed of. And the last really important part of these conversations with our loved ones is going to be empathy. So, what's empathy? Empathy is the ability to understand and share the feelings of another person. It involves putting yourself in someone else's shoes, recognizing their emotions, and responding with genuine understanding and compassion. I have another Brene Brown quote in here because I love Brene Brown. But she said, we want to fix, we want to give advice, but empathy isn't about fixing. It's the brave choice to be with someone in their darkness, not to race to turn on the light so that you feel better. So, how many times have you had somebody in your life when you're like, why don't you just get over it? I mean, maybe you don't say that out loud, but you think it. You're like, so what? There was some drama at work. Who cares? Get over it. That's not coming from the place of empathy, even if you might feel frustrated in that moment when it's someone that we love, like our boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, or wife. We want to sit in that empathy with them and ask them questions. And the reason why we want to do that is it's going to really build a strong connection because you're going to be demonstrating that you understand and genuinely care about your partner's experiences and emotions. So when I think of finances and I think of empathy, this is that being brave and sharing, you know? Maybe you sit down and you say, I don't have XYZ, I haven't been saving like I'm supposed to be, or I've been spending too much, and I know that we had this goal, but I think I need some help. And avoiding judgment, just suspend your judgment and your preconceived notions in those conversations, because it's going to allow for a more open and accepting attitude. And they're going to feel that, you're going to feel that, and you're going to have an even better conversation. So here's my 3-step approach. Here's an example. I've been feeling really stressed out about our financial situation lately. It seems like we're struggling to make ends meet, and it's taking a toll on me. I'm super stressed, right? They're saying that. Maybe they come in and maybe they're even yelling at us. I've been so stressed about this lately. So we're going to approach this with empathy to turn this into a better conversation with our partner. So we're going to start by validating their emotions. I hear you. and I understand that managing our finances has been a source of stress for you. It's completely okay to feel that way, and I appreciate you sharing your feelings with me. Then we're going to avoid judgment. We're not going to say, what's there to stress about? Just pay your bills on time. We're going to avoid that, right? We're going to completely skip over that, and we're going to go to step 3, offer support. Hey, let's sit down and go through our budget together. I want us to be on the same page, and we can figure out a plan that works for both of us. If there's anything specific you're worried about, let's explore possible solutions together. We're a team. I'm here to support you. Using words like that are so important. I know you've probably heard words are just words, but being there in the moment, making that eye contact, leaning into the conversation, and offering that support, it is important. And it's something that people need in their lives. So, to circle back here, when we are approaching our conversations with loved ones, I want you to listen actively, practice your active listening, approach each situation with conflict resolution in mind. Let's look at not this moment, but what we want our goals to be and speak on those, and empathy for these people who we love so much. That is all I have today for how to navigate financial conversations with people that we love most in our lives. I'll hang out here in the chat for a little bit longer. If you have any questions or comments, you can always share this replay on our YouTube channel. It'll be up in the next 24 to 48 hours. And stay tuned for our next webinar, which will be on managing your pet finances. And that will be in March, the second Wednesday of every month at 1 p.m. Thank you, and bye.